The exact same pair of wide-leg trousers can take 10 years off you, or quietly add them. And the difference isn't the trouser. It's not the brand, the price, or the size on the tag. It's one measurement, sitting on your own body right now, that you can find in about 30 seconds, and almost nobody has ever shown you where to look. Here's what makes this tricky. Everyone blames the wrong thing first. She'll blame the length. She'll blame the fabric. She'll blame her own body. And she'll be wrong every single time, because none of those are the real problem. They're just where the eye lands first. Stay with me, because I'm going to walk you through all three of those decoys, exactly why they fool almost everyone, and then I'm going to show you the one detail, hiding underneath all of them. Once you see it, you will never shop for trousers the same way again. Welcome to the timeless wardrobe. If today is your first visit, welcome. One quiet belief runs through everything here. Elegance was never about fighting the body you have. It's about finally understanding it. If that's the kind of honest, practical styling you actually want, this is a good moment to subscribe, because by the end of this video, you'll know what most stylists reserve for a private, paid consultation. The exact fit, fabric, and length to look for. Why your body genuinely holds fabric differently than it did 20 years ago, and why that was never a failure on your part. And the one waistband placement that visually lengthens your legs in the 2 seconds it takes to bend gently to one side in a mirror. That last one is the real answer. Everything before it is what's been quietly getting the blame instead. Before the three decoys, one truth worth sitting with. Volume was never meant to hide you. Styled correctly, it announces you. The most enduringly elegant women of the last half-century wore flowing trousers and never once looked like they were disappearing into a room. They looked like women who decided, quietly and without asking permission, to take up exactly the space they wanted. And here's why fabric behaves differently on you now, because this changes how you shop, permanently. It was never really about weight. It's about how muscle, posture, and core strength quietly redistribute over the years, which changes how any garment hangs on your frame, even ones that fit beautifully a decade ago. A fabric that clung nicely at 35 can behave completely differently on you today. That isn't decline. It's simply a body doing what bodies do, and it's exactly why a well-chosen flowing fabric can look more elegant on a woman in her 60s than a stiff, structured trouser ever could on anyone. A body that has lived is not a body that has failed. It's simply asking to be dressed differently. Keep that in mind. Because what follows is exactly what we'd normally walk through in a private styling consultation, starting with decoy number 1. Picture the last time you glanced down at your trousers in a shop mirror and thought they looked fine, because from above, they did. Here's the problem. You see your own trousers from above. Everyone else sees them from the side. And that's where the confusion starts. Too long, and the fabric pools on the floor, collects dust, frays at the hem. Too short, and it cuts the leg line at precisely the worst point, visually shortening you. The rule: full-length wide-leg trousers should just barely graze the top of your shoe, a whisper of fabric, never a puddle. Cropped, they should land at the narrowest part of your ankle, never mid-calf, which is the least flattering point on nearly every leg. Here's what almost nobody mentions. The exact pair that schemes perfectly over boots in January can look entirely wrong over bare ankles in June. If a trouser earns a permanent place in your closet, it's worth either a second hem or a compromise length that behaves in both seasons. But here's the twist. Get the length perfect, and the trousers can still age you. Length was never the real problem. It's just the first place your eye goes to explain a feeling it can't quite name. The actual cause is still ahead. Quick honest question. Has a pair of trousers ever looked flawless with boots and turned strange the moment you switched to sandals? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how common that really is. The second decoy has nothing to do with the cut, and everything to do with what the trouser is made of. Stand in front of a rack, and you can usually feel it before you try anything on. A stiff, heavy fabric stands away from the body instead of moving with it, which creates bulk exactly through the hip. A fluid fabric, a soft crepe, a linen blend, a proper drapey viscose, falls with gravity and schemes the body instead of arguing with it. Here's a 10-second test almost nobody does. Gather a section of fabric in your fist. Hold it for a slow count of 3, then let go. If it holds that crushed shape, put it back on the rail. If it falls back into a smooth line almost immediately, it will move beautifully the moment you actually walk in it. A trouser doesn't have to be expensive to look expensive. It just has to know how to fall. Shopping online. The same test still works. Skip the polished brand photography and look for photos other customers have uploaded. The same cut in stiff cotton behaves nothing like it does in soft viscose, even under the identical size on the tag. And here's the part that surprises people. You can get the fabric exactly right, soft, fluid, perfect drape, and still get the aging effect. Because fabric was never the real problem either. It's just decoy number 2. There's one more before we reach the actual answer. The third decoy is the sneakiest because it feels like it should be the answer, and it isn't quite. Your eye needs somewhere to land when it scans an outfit. Without a defined waist, the eye slides straight from shoulder to ankle without pausing anywhere, and the entire look reads as one shapeless column. A fitted top, a soft belt, a gentle tuck. Any of these gives the eye a landing point. Quick story because I want you to see this rather than just hear it. A woman I'll call Di and wore wide-leg trousers to a family wedding last spring, the first time in almost a decade. She'd done everything right. Perfect length. Beautiful drapey fabric. A soft belted top for definition. And still, something felt slightly off in every photo, though she couldn't say what. She was one decision away from getting it exactly right. And it wasn't any of the 3 things she'd already fixed. Honest question for the comments. Of these first 3, which is most likely happening in your own closet right now? Length, fabric, or missing definition? Just drop the word. I read every one, and it genuinely shapes what we cover next. Here it is, the detail hiding underneath the 3 decoys, the one measurement I promised you at the very start. Where the waistband of your trousers actually sits on your body matters more than the length, more than the fabric, more than any belt or tuck you'll ever add. And most women have genuinely never located their true waist in their entire lives. A proper high-rise should sit exactly at your natural waist, not above the navel, not below it, but at the narrowest point of your torso. When it sits precisely there, it does something that feels almost like a magic trick. It visually lengthens the leg and smooths the middle, with no shapewear, no dieting, no different body required. Diane's problem, it turns out, was never her fabric or her belt. Her trousers sat 2 inches below her actual waist, low enough that every other choice she'd made correctly couldn't fully land. Here's how to find your own, and it takes 30 seconds. Stand up if you're able to, and bend gently to one side. The crease that forms, that's your true waist. That is exactly where a proper high-rise trouser should sit, and it's almost never where a mannequin photo suggests, because every body stores that crease in a slightly different place. Most women don't need better clothes. They need to know where their own waist actually is. Try this tonight, before you buy another pair of trousers online. Now that you know where the real answer lives, here's how elegant dressers build around it. A formula they never abandon. When there's volume below, there's structure above. That doesn't mean squeezing into anything tight. It means choosing pieces that skim your shape. A fitted knit tucked at the front, a blouse with a soft half tuck, a blazer left open to create one clean vertical line down the body. The mistake almost everyone makes without realizing it is pairing a wide, flowing trouser with an equally wide, flowing top. When both halves are soft and loose at once, there's no shape left anywhere, and instead of reading as relaxed and elegant, the whole look quietly slides into costume. Elegance isn't expensive. Confusion is. A fast way to check yourself before you leave the house. Look at your reflection from the side, not straight on. The mirror lies about height when you face it head-on. The side view never does. A few finishing details make an outsized difference. Keeping your top and trousers within the same color family, cream with cream, navy with navy, creates one long, unbroken line from shoulder to floor, and that single choice does more for how tall you appear than heels ever could. A pointed flat or a low block heel elongates the leg beautifully, and matching your shoe to your trouser color keeps that line running from waist to toe. And one more before you buy another pair. If you can pinch more than 2 inches of extra fabric anywhere at the waist or hip when the trousers are buttoned, that isn't a sizing problem. That's a tailoring opportunity. A modest pair, properly altered, can genuinely read like it costs several times more. Wide-leg trousers are also often faster and cheaper to tailor than fitted ones because the alteration usually happens only at the waist and hip, never down the full leg. None of this was ever about hiding, and it was never about needing a different body. It was about finding the one measurement that was quietly deciding everything else, and using it on purpose instead of guessing every time you get dressed. Diane went back, eventually, not to buy a new pair of trousers, to have her old ones altered at the waist, nowhere else. She wore them to a dinner a few weeks later. And for the first time in 10 years, someone she hadn't seen in a while looked at her and said, simply, "You look taller." Not different, not done up, just correctly seen for the first time in a while. That's the whole video, really. Not a trick, not a trend, not a different body. Just 30 seconds, a gentle bend to one side, and the realization that elegance was never something you lost. It was something you'd simply stop seeing because nobody ever showed you where to look. So here's what I actually want from you, and it's a little different from the usual question. Not which of these you already knew. Pick one thing from today, right now, and tell me in the comments which trouser in your own closet you're going to test this on this week. I'll be reading, and I might feature a few of your answers in the next video. If this gave you even one thing you didn't know a few minutes ago, the like button genuinely helps this reach someone who needs it. I'll see you in the next one.